Hey, gorgeous ladies. Happy Tuesday. I don't know what part of the world you're in, waking up or winding down for the evening, but I just wanted to welcome you. I felt inspired to jump on here because I am procrastinating on some major work I should be doing right now. But also, it's not just that. It's not just that, I promise. I've been having some very interesting conversations lately with people, and a few questions have kept kind of popping up. And so I just wanted to get on here and maybe bust some myths and give you some really simple tips because it sounds like a lot of you, there's a lot of people, and oh, hello, if you're here, say hi, give me a heart, give me a like, just to know I'm not just talking to myself. But a lot of you here are working in maybe a part-time or full-time capacity, but you have bigger dreams. You did not join this group because you were just happy with where you were. You obviously want to up-level in some way. And a lot of you I've seen and have heard and had many conversations with, you have an interest in starting your own kind of business. You may not know what that looks like, or you may know what that looks like, but you're just trying to figure out the practicalities behind it. Now, the message I have for you right now is it's not as hard as it seems, and it's not as much of a Mount Everest as you may think it is. It doesn't mean it won't be your Mount Everest. It doesn't mean that it won't be challenging and really difficult at times. But if it's something that you're called to do, you can absolutely do it. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about how long it can actually take to get something up and running. So I'm not sure if you know a little bit of where I'm at the moment, but I only started my business in October 2016. I'm just looking at the date now. So October 2016, and I resigned from my full-time job 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure if any of you even knew that I was working full-time, but I was working full-time. So, I knew that I was called to coaching pretty much about a year and a half ago. Like, I got that clarity, and I very quickly took action steps to get there. So it doesn't have to be a really long, extended plan to kind of get where you want to be. So I just wanted to give you some really clear, practical tips. You may have heard these before, but something tells me it's very different when you've got someone who's really, who's just in this process for themselves, or who seems a bit more real maybe than the other stuff that you see on Facebook or whoever it is that you're following. But these are things that I do, that I have done, that I have been taught and mentored myself. So I'm just going to give you some 4 tips. Is anyone interested here in hearing what these tips are? Because it does sound to me like we have a lot of passionate people who are in this group, who have a lot of big dreams and would like some strategies on how to get those started. Yeah? Okay, let's get into it. Now, number 1 is time. You are going to hear me say this again and again and again. Your relationship with time is the most important part of this business. I will tell anyone who I'm working with, go ahead and start acting like a business owner with your time. Now, I was told this before I even had any clients, get your Calendly set up, get your Acuity scheduler set up. And I was like, okay, but I don't have any clients. What am I going to do with that? I'll tell you what happens when you start coaching people. All of a sudden you understand not just how precious your time is, but your relationship with time, particularly when you're working full time. And so you're not going to have 40 hours a week to give to people. You're going to have to be very specific with the time that you have allowed. So I'll tell you when I did it first. This is the mistake I made. Hey, Courtney, good to see you. Yes. All right. Let's go. We're going. Start taking some notes, girl. So the first mistakes I made, which I hope you don't repeat, are I basically was like, well, I'm available all the time. If I'm not working, I'm available. Really big mistake, because I was very quickly coaching people from all over the world, but as well, I didn't want to be up at 5 a.m. coaching. And I kind of let that happen. I couldn't, it took me longer than 20 minutes to get home from work to coach. I needed a dinner break. I needed to be done. I was coaching people till midnight at some point. I do not recommend this because I was exhausted the next day. So what I literally had to do was sit down and go, okay, this is how many hours you work. This is how many hours you sleep. How many hours can you joyfully and really give your clients right now? So I have a very limited spot. I'm pretty much not taking on any more 90-day clients right now. I'm selling like intensives, cheap, kind of cheaper rates at the moment, but my capacity is nearly full because I know what level I need to kind of stop at. That can be really frustrating, and obviously it's temporary, but because I'm still in my 9 to 5, I have to work out my notice period. That's what I have to do in order to be the best coach I can be for my current clients. So the first thing that you need to do is start acting like a business owner with your time. And the one thing that I noticed is I thought I had a really good relationship with time. I really did. But what I noticed was at work, it was okay. But because I didn't have any other deadlines in my personal life, I just kind of let everything flow. That does not work, okay? You need to have a digital, electronic, smartphone calendar that tells you when you're eating dinner, when you're having breakfast, when you're meditating, when you're praying, when you're running, when you're, connecting with someone. If you have to set up a home shared calendar with someone, you do it. And that's something I've had to learn as well. So the first thing you need to do is start acting like a business owner with your time. I cannot tell you how much stress this will prevent in your life, okay? That is the first step. Now, that really only takes a couple of hours, but what I actually did was I sat down with a blank sheet of paper and put down Monday through Sunday, what are my hourly blocks? What do they look like? When is the optimum time for me to coach people, for me to research, for me to write the various blogs that I'm writing for as well? Because I don't just coach, I write, I do these lives, I do newsletters. There's a lot of different elements to business that is not just the front face delivering to clients in whatever capacity that's going to be for you. There's admin, there's VAs you have to deal with, there's team members you have to deal with. Admin is a huge part of what you do. The sooner you can outsource that, the better, obviously. But that's why I'm going to say to you, your first step is getting really clear on how much time do you actually have to start this business. How much time do you actually have to not just give to clients, but to give to the setup of it, to give to the delivery of it, to the after fact. After I deal with clients, there's some follow-up involved. So number one is time. Your relationship with time, becoming a master at it, knowing what your schedule is and knowing how much of it you actually can give to a side business. Now, I've worked with clients who have a wonderful, amazing ideas and passions, that they want to start to monetize. It's all possible. However, they're not ready for it. And what I mean by that is, if you want, it depends on how quickly you want to hustle, girl. It depends on how quickly you want results. You could drop 20 pounds in a month if you wanted to, but it ain't going to be fun. Let's be completely honest here. So if you want something that's going to happen really quickly for you, not only do you have to be in charge of your time, you have to know what you're willing to sacrifice. The first year for me, I will tell you everything that I kind of gave up, but there is huge sacrifice involved. And so as well as how much time do you have, is how much time are you willing to sacrifice to other things in your life. So don't go just running headfirst into something if you do not have a hold on your time, on how much of it is a non-negotiable, how much of it do you have to give away to this. If you don't have, I'd say at least 5 hours a week that is totally free, I wouldn't even question it right now. I would, if you don't have that, if you can't find in your schedule 5 hours that you can 100% focus on your side business, then you're not going to have what it takes. Not for that first year. Because to really build a business, it takes some hustle, and obviously I'd say that first year is really you building the foundation to it, so it does take longer. You have to be in it longer. So number one is becoming a master of your time and becoming a master of your schedule. Number two, research. Now, this is something that a lot of people can get stuck in. One of the things I love watching at the moment is Shark Tank. The American version. Sorry, I don't really like the UK version. Not sure if any of you like that, but anyway, I love watching Shark Tank. I love hearing the things that they say. I love hearing how, each of these millionaire business owners make decisions on what they're willing to invest in or not invest in. And one of the things you hear a lot is people really delaying on ideas that they have. And, one of the things you're going to hear is perfection is the killer of dreams. And it really is. And that's in so many different parts of our lives. But you do need to research. And by that, I mean, you may have an amazing idea. Like I had this idea that I thought was so cool. And I was seriously like, let's get a prototype happening. Let's do this. It's so stupid. I don't want to bring it up because it just shows how naive I was in this. But it took me about 20 minutes on Amazon to figure out this idea has been done and people are making lots of money from it. But I just went ahead and researched it and it was just off the table in like 20 minutes. So I didn't have to take up any more brain power with it. I think people think something is such a good idea, but they haven't done the interviews. They haven't really interviewed their market, done their proper market research. And so I think a lot of people think, well, I've put money towards it. Of course, it's going to succeed. Money is not always the answer. So you really need to do your research in that field. Doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck in there. Give yourself a month and say, okay, for the next month, every spare moment I have, I'm going to research this. and whatever that means. Does the product already exist yet? Are these clients, or, do the people that you want to serve, are they in need of what you're offering? Is that something that really lights you up? Or, who are the big names in your field? How can you follow them? What are they saying? What are they doing? What are the next industry trends in that area? Become an investigator of whatever it is you're really interested in at the moment. That's the second thing I would do. Become a journalist. Like, become an absolute investigative journalist in that area for yourself, whatever that is. I know when I was looking at becoming a coach, I didn't just, jump on the first coach I found. When I finally got clarity on what it was that I really wanted to do, I really looked around at the big hitters, but also at people that kind of I was attracted to, and why was I attracted to them? What's working? What's not? What's in the online field? What kind of channels are they on? So because you want to emulate a little bit of the success, but obviously you want to put your own unique spin on it. So I did a heck of a lot of research before I decided to sign up with my own coach. Decide what course I was going to sign up to and get my certification through. And of course, before I started my own business and who I was going to be marketing to. So that's number 2. Do your research, but don't get stuck in it. Give yourself a deadline with that. I will say to clients, there's only so much research you can do. Just freaking get started, okay? So number 1 is become a master of your schedule. Number 2 is research. Number 3, do you know what number 3 would be? I'm interested. Anyone here? Okay, so number 3 is reach out. Now, we have the most incredible opportunities right now, particularly in the online entrepreneur space. I love Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, obviously. There is no reason why you cannot reach out to influencers in your area, or people who are that year or two ahead a step of you. Obviously, you want to reach out to the Lewis Howes and the Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo. Try a few steps disconnected, because I'm not saying that's unlikely, but unless you have a really good in there, it's unlikely you're going to get a personal response. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. So number 3 is reach out to people who have done it specifically in that field that you're interested in. This is when you start going, can I meet you for a coffee? Can I just ask you 1 or 2 questions? Time is very precious, but when you're really specific with people about what you're after, and this is one of the first things I did. I contacted someone who I just thought he was so cool. I heard him on I think it was the Jess Lively podcast. Courtney, I think you're a fan of that. Oh gosh, my Deliveroo guy's here. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Hold on, you guys are going to have to, hold on. You're going to have to see, because I'm getting my food delivered. This is Life on My Terms, getting my food delivered here. Hold on for a second. Just wait. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye. Yep, that's just going with the flow, ladies. That happens. So I got a salad, just so you know, and some sweet potatoes, because I love sweet potatoes. So going back to it, reaching out. One of the people I reached out to when I first started my business was someone called the Mentee podcast. Anyway, I just loved what he said. I loved what he did. And he was just so cool. And he actually did respond to me, and he answered some of my questions. I reached out to him because I loved what he said. I loved his messaging and his marketing, and his message spoke to me. So I just did that, right? There's no reason why you can't do the same, okay? So that is number 3. Where are my notes? Okay. I really didn't think I was going to be on here that long. I don't know what I was thinking. I talk so much. Is anyone still here? Yes, you're still here. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. So that's number 3. Reach out. Don't be afraid. Now, I'm not saying that every person I've reached out to has responded to me, particularly when I first started my business. That's not going to stop me. Oh, Courtney, yes, networking is my main goal right now. I've messaged 3. Yes, that's it, Courtney. Good. Oh, I'm so impressed. Superstar. Today I've messaged 3 inspiring people in the city on LinkedIn, and I've already had 1 response. That's it. Like, you totally got this. You can do this. That is the way to do it. And I think when we think of starting our own business, we think there's all these different kind of set of rules. And yeah, there are some, and there's some definite different strategies I've had to learn as a business owner that didn't work in my career. However, a lot of them are still relevant, such as, particularly in the career I was in PR and TV, networking was essential. It still is. It still absolutely is. So start the networking. You don't have to wait until you're like a full-time entrepreneur or anything to do that, okay? I started my networking 2 years ago, like before I had a business. So start that now. So that's reaching out. That's number 3. And number 4, this is a bit vague, but you'll know what this is. It's take the next step. Now, so many times when I connect with people, And when I coach with people, Courtney, I'm so impressed. I'm so happy for you. That's freaking awesome. But when I coach people, a lot of them know what they want to do, but they are waiting, or they are stuck in fear, or they're not sure, or they don't feel 1,000% about it. Therefore, they just wait. And that is the worst thing you can do, okay? Mel Robbins even says that hesitation is just the death of your dreams, okay? A hesitation in a meeting for even not speaking up it can be a huge killer, not just to your confidence, but it also rewires your brain that you should never speak up if you're not 1,000% sure. And that's kind of what's happened to us, not just growing up as kids, but in the office, in the boardroom. You get told if you're not 1,000% sure, don't speak up. And it's funny because men don't seem to have that same issue, but I digress. Anywho, take the next step. You know what that next step is. That was probably the scariest thing for me, was taking the next step. My 3 next steps, I'll give them to you. One was sending an email to the Huffington Post and becoming a blogger, a contributing writer for the Huffington Post. That was my first one. I wanted to do it, and yet it felt like such a big thing in my head, but I just finally sent it. That was the next step for me. When I knew I wanted to become a coach, what was the next step? Actually, it was researching, okay? But after that, it was signing up to a course, and that felt so scary at the time. It really did. I'm not going to lie. Even after I signed up to it and I paid the money, I felt sick for about a week. I did. I absolutely did, because I didn't know if it was going to work. I felt really uncomfortable. It's not like signing, and it was so funny. It's not like signing to a master's degree where I'm going to get a big certificate at the end and I'll be more employable, says who. It was just my brain going, what are you doing? There's no guarantee here. What's going on? Like, I just psyched myself out of it, but I still did it. So that was me taking the next step. Taking the next step, when I knew I wanted to move to London, what did I do? I started researching visas, and then I booked my visa, and then I applied for my visa, and then I, took the next step, which was looking at my flights and resigning from my job. Take the next step and see how that feels. So now there's a lot more involved here. There's a whole freaking framework involved when you want to start a business. However, these are a lot of the pieces that come up when I'm coaching people and they have ideas, because you're brilliant, you're smart, you're ambitious, you know what needs to be done. So most of the things that are blocking us are not strategic pieces. It's mindset work, it's confidence, it's what if, it's getting stuck in the shoulds, and you're too amazing for that to happen. So those are my 4 tips for you. If you have a side business, obviously when you work with a coach, you can accelerate those results. But right now, if you're like, no, I want to do this right now, those are 4 tips that can help you, because these are things I had to really master when I was starting my side business, which is soon becoming my full-time business. I think the 30th of November is my last day. So yay for me and yay for you. And if you have a business idea, I would love to hear what it is, because there seems to be so many inspiring women from a lot of different areas and a lot of different backgrounds. And this is just such a great group, and I can't wait to hear from more of you. So even if you're watching the replay, I want to hear from you. I'm going to go eat my dinner now. I want to hear what your idea is. So, even if you don't want to share it, where are you at with it? How long have you had this idea? What steps have you taken? Share. We are here. It's like, this is a really cool tribe we're building here. And I know it's not huge. I quite like the number that it's at now. But this is your group. This is here to inspire you, to motivate you, to challenge you, to push you. 2 years ago, I can't even tell you what my life looked like. I was in a job that frankly was making me miserable, and I did not know what was next. And I was scared, and I was stuck, and I was sick of it. And I finally got sick of it enough to make a change. And I made that decision. I signed up to my course. I decided I wanted to be a coach, all those things. And I cannot tell you how different my life looks now. So if you're interested, just start with those steps and see where it leads you. I promise you, there's some awesome things on the other side. Have a wonderful evening or a wonderful morning or day wherever you are, and speak to you soon. Much love. Bye.